So guys, what's good? What's good? I hope you guys are well. I know I haven't done a video for a while, so but I thought I'd come today with obviously the fight card that we've had, and I thought it was a good definitely a good card. But I wanted to talk about the main fight, Wilder v Zhang. Wilder knocked out cold. Not cold, he got back up, but I mean he was finished. It's sad way for Wilder to go. But I think Wilder, you know, what the sad thing about Wilder's career, his legacy, people are going to look at Wilder and say he was no good. He couldn't box. He was a terrible boxer. But I think what upsets me is that Wilder didn't take any of these fights when he was in his prime, right? And people will say, what prime? He was never good. He just was avoiding top fights. But you can clearly see that Wilder never had those snap in his punches. He didn't really, like when he threw the right hand, there was venomous there. He didn't have much else, but it was venom. And you always felt like, and he always felt that he was going to land it. I don't really think he believed, like, the reason why Wilder was good, in my opinion, because he was mentally very strong. And even though his skill wasn't really there, he was able, even when he getting beat, you always felt, and he always felt, as I just mentioned earlier, that he was going to land that punch. But I feel that's gone. After the Tyson Fury fights, I think those took a lot out of him. Then he went inactive for a little while. And he just isn't the same guy. He doesn't have the same belief. He doesn't have the same venom. Even when he throws his right hand, he doesn't seem like he has the same belief in that right hand. And that makes a big difference. Even the way his body's moving. Like even in the first round, when he was walking back, he was like he was having a wobble. His legs were wobbling on the way back to get to the corner. You could clearly see his leg looked like he was, I mean, his legs are tiny. It's just, for me, he's just totally washed and finished. And it's sad because I don't think he'll be remembered the way he should. And I think if he had fought these guys earlier on, right, he may have lost some of those fights, but I think he would have put up a much better display. You know, it always looked like in there that Zhang was going to knock him out. It was like a matter of time because Wilder wasn't doing anything, Zhang wasn't doing anything, but you knew Zhang was a better boxer. Eventually, he was going to land something. And Wilder's defense has never been that great. So you felt like Zhang would knock him out eventually. And that's what happened. Against Parker, he did nothing. But Parker wasn't a big puncher, so he was managed to survive the full 12 rounds. Against Zhang, I knew he weren't going to survive the 12. Zhang was going to catch him somewhere, and he did. But it's just a sad way to see Deontay Wilder go. And Wilder will probably never get any credit because, like I just said, people will say he was never no good. But I don't think that's true. I think Wilder, there was a very good fighter in him. But I think he was very mismanaged. And I think it's sad the way his career went because I think he should have had much bigger fights earlier on in his career. Look, AJ, he fought a lot, like virtually everybody. Wilder could have fought so many great fighters. But the problem is with Wilder, he didn't get put in. And then look, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was his team. But they were protecting him when they should have let him fight everybody. And that was when Wilder was in his prime, when Wilder believed in himself, when he was hungry. Now he's taking all these fights. And that's the thing, because they're just throwing him in there with these guys. And Wilder's really just there really for a paycheck now. That's why he doesn't care. He's fighting everybody because he knows where's his career going, really. And I don't see Wilder. I don't think Wilder should fight again because clearly he looks totally gone now. You know, he doesn't have that same belief. You know, he's very gun shy. You know, and when you're fighting a top fighter like Zhang or people like that, or even Joshua, they're not going to let you off though. They're going to bang you out. You know, eventually, because he doesn't have great skills. He doesn't have great fundamentals. But one thing I would say about Wilder's journey is very inspirational. You know, he started boxing because his daughter was sick and he managed to make a great living out of the sport. and, you know, provide for his daughter. Not just provide for his daughter, he's like got generational wealth now. Wilder's made a lot of money. So Wilder can see off into the sunset with a lot of money. He's made for life. He's an overachiever in boxing. He's somebody that you could say with limited skills has gone on to have an unbelievable career. You know, he's done well. He's done very well. But I felt like he could have left a legacy where people would look back and say, wow, what a great fighter. It wasn't great, very skilled, but he was a great fighter. But I don't think he's even left the legacy because he doesn't have a resume. And I think this should be a lesson to a lot of fighters that Deontay Wilder's career was really poor. And I felt like Deontay Wilder came around at the time when it was like about, you know, the Floyd Mayweather effect, where people were looking to protect their O's and not fighting. And Wilder was very protected. And I do feel that, look, I don't think Wilder, if he had fought everybody, I don't think he would have stayed undefeated. I think he would have taken losses like he did, like he is now. But I think he would have beaten some good fighters as well. Whereas I think now he can't beat anyone. I think if you put anybody in the top 15 with Wilder, he gets beat. Because I just don't think Wilder has that same belief. I think Wilder's even that belief. Because sometimes it's not necessarily Wilder was such a big puncher, this, that. It's the belief. It's that mental strength that he had, that he just believed his right hand was going to wipe anyone out. I don't really feel, even the way his body language is in the ring, he doesn't really believe that anymore. And when he's throwing his right hand, it doesn't really seem to have the same venom that it had. You know, and I think the inactivity hasn't helped. And then when you're limited like Wilder, and then you're inactive and you're getting older, your reflexes are slowing down. You know, it's only downhill, isn't it? Especially like you haven't got great skills. You're getting older. You've had some hard fights, which has taken a lot out of you. So, you know, what we're seeing with Wilder is expected. That's what we should expect, really. You know, we shouldn't really expect anything else because Wilder's old. He's old and he's past his best. And he's had some hard fights against Fury. So this is what we're seeing from him now is probably what we should be expecting. Because Zhang, he's not really had that many hard fights. You know, Tyson, I mean, if you look at Wilder, the Fury fights, I know he had 3, but those 3 fights took a lot out of him. He got battered in those fights, especially this second and third fight. He got really battered in those fights. And they were like 10 fights. Tough fights, they were. That's how tough they were for Wilder. Because in the second fight, he just got battered from pillar to post. But the guy that we saw against Tyson Fury, this wasn't the same guy. Look at Tyson Fury against Usyk. That was a good fight. Right? And Wilder gave Fury, out of 3 fights, 2 of them were very tough fights for Fury. They weren't easy. You know, Fury was down a couple of times and, you know, they were tough fights. And Wilder's body language, everything, even in the third Fury fight, Wilder was good, very good. And he believed in himself, even though that fight didn't start off very well for him, Wilder, the third one. But then, and I think Fury dropped him, didn't he, the round before in the third round. But then Wilder came back in the 4th round and dropped Fury. But I just don't see that Wilder. I just don't see that Wilder anymore. So I think Wilder's career is finished. I think Wilder needs to retire because otherwise he's going to end up getting hurt. And now if his team's because I don't even think I think his team would know now there's not even any money to make of this guy now. You know, I don't think there's any more money to be made of Deontay Wilder because I think Wilder's stock now is completely finished. Unless he wants to become like a journeyman or something, which I don't think Wilder, because he's got so much money, he doesn't need to do that. It's not like he'll be, like, the money that he'd be boxing for now just wouldn't be worth the while for him. Even though he probably could get some good money because of the fact in Saudi, but he'd be down on the card, maybe 3rd fight. You know, why? You know, and you, like, it's a tough road back for Wilder. What's he fighting for? Is he just fighting for an extra few quid? Then he could do it, but there's not really much to fight for. You know, the Joshua fight's dead because that was the only fight really left for Wilder. That was the only real fight left for Wilder. You know, but I don't think Wilder should be fighting big punches. No way. Wilder gets knocked out because if he fights big punches, he's going to get knocked out. He's going to get knocked out because they're going to get him before he gets them. So Wilder, in my opinion, should bow out before he ends up getting hurt. He's had a great career. made a lot of money. And to be honest with you, he was one of my favorite fighters. And people may say, well, what do you mean he was one of your favorite fighters? I like Wilder because I always felt that his fights were explosive, and at any given moment we knew what could happen. And most often than not, we got that. Even when against Fury, they were great fights. But I just don't see that Deontay Wilder anymore. So I'd like to see Wilder bow out before he ends up getting hurt by somebody, because I think somebody will hurt him if he carries on. Oh, it's sad that, you know, Wilder hasn't left the legacy that I think he could have left. But at the same time, you know, I think that's a lesson to other boxers that, you know, you should fight everybody, because especially when you're young and in your prime, because you don't want to get to a stage when you get older, and especially someone like Wilder who was always going to make a lot of money. But they tried to, I felt like maybe they were protecting him because they felt that they could put him in a position where he could make a lot of money, which he has. But he's harmed his legacy, because I do feel that although I think he would have taken losses against some top fighters, I think he could have beaten some top names as well. And look, he was unlucky because he was going to fight Povetkin, and I think that was a fight that he could have won. But it was a dangerous fight because he was going to Russia. But again, Povetkin failed a drugs test, so it's nothing Wilder can do about that. But at the same time, he just didn't make the big fights. You know, we like the only real guy he's beaten is Ortiz, and we don't even really know how good Ortiz was, if we're honest. So his resume is really poor. When he looks back at his career, his resume is virtually non-existent. There isn't any. There's no resume really when you think about it. So yeah, fair play to Wilder. Had a great career. Zhang moves on now. That was a devastating knockout. Knocked Wilder out badly. You know, he got caught with the right hand, and Wilder was all over the place. He always, when he gets caught with a shot, sometimes Wilder just looks disoriented. It looks like he doesn't know where he is. But this time he paid for it, because Zhang followed up with the right hand and he flattened him. You know, so yeah. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Love to know your opinion. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.